Join Alan and Rich by calling in at 888-565-1470 or watching them on elkinsandfreedman.com on Monday nights. And now, here's Alan Elkins and Rich Freedman.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
No,
well,
I didn't.
Is it good afternoon? Good morning. Good evening.
On you, Richard. Hello, everybody. I'm Alan Elkins, along with
Richard Freedman, Alan's partner for 33 years and still going strong.
And we've got another action-packed show tonight, Richard. It had been my hope initially after last week's interview with our burlesque queen.
Right, that was a great show.
It was a great show. If she could appear tonight, she was more than willing until she got booked to do a show in Minnesota.
Wow, Minnesota.
So she's doing a show in Minnesota.
That's pretty impressive, Minnesota.
She'll be here next week to titillate us, so to speak, and continue on telling us her fascinating stories.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be sitting right here. Hopefully
sure
she'll be sitting next to me.
And she will, my friend. All right, so listen, we got a lot to talk about. I'm going to try to be a little better on the time management tonight, but a couple articles that I want to get to. But first, let me ask you, how was your weekend, Richard?
How was my weekend? Jeez.
What'd you do?
Where do I begin? I saw a good movie.
What'd you see?
What's that movie with the guy with the claws? Wolverine. Saw Wolverine?
I heard it was great. I wanted to see it, but it didn't work out. Did you like it?
It was good. I mean, it wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, but it was an enjoyable, action-packed movie.
Truth is, he's probably one of my favorite superheroes.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's done more superhero movies than any other action superhero.
I still like the other guy, Iron Man.
See, so many years I can read your thoughts. I know what you're saying. Well, it's funny. I didn't get to see the Wolverine, but if you remember when I was away 2 weeks ago, a movie came out on the Sci-Fi Network.
Okay.
And it became a cult classic instantly. Do you know of what I speak?
I don't know what you speak. Please speak.
All right, well, it's English, okay, and we'll talk about that later. But the movie I'm referring to is Sharknado. Now, I'm sure a good number of you have already seen Sharknado and know what I'm talking about. For those that are uneducated and ignorant like my partner, I'm going to explain it.
Okay, explain.
Okay, what the Sci-Fi Network does, they put on really cheesy movies. They get them up quick. They use grade D actors. So what happened, this Shark Fest starred Tara Reid. You know who Tara Reid is?
Tara Reid.
Yeah, she did maybe one or two good movies. I think she was mostly known for her botched boob job, but the truth is she's a grade D actor. She is just horrible. Okay, hasn't done anything in a couple of years that I can remember. And then the other actor in the movie, the lead was Ian Ziering. You know who that is?
No.
Okay, you remember Beverly Hills 90210?
Sure, my favorite show.
That's right,
the first one or the second series?
No, it was the original one.
That was the best.
A guy for Ian Ziering, and I'm proud to say for Ian, I thought the hairline would be gone by now, so he's either wearing a toque, but he had plenty of hair in the movie.
Right.
So anyway, so here's the story. They combine sharks with tornadoes, and there's a hurricane off the coast of Mexico, and it's heading toward Los Angeles. Now, what it does, sharks are migrating. What happens is that the hurricane, or they refer to it as tornadoes, and I think specifically in the movie there were 3 of them, they pick up sharks. They literally pick up the sharks, and what they do, the sharks get deposited into Los Angeles. They start at the Santa Monica Pier.
Oh, Santa Monica? There's a lot of sharks at the Santa Monica Pier.
Oh, that's right, but these were the fishy kind. And what happens, so they're devouring people left and right. About 4 minutes into the movie, people start getting chomped on. But the effects, I could make a shark with that. There's a shark, and here's you, and, well, there you go. Well, anyway, this movie's so bad that the sharks then get deposited inland. The water spouts pick them up and drop them off wherever.
What kind of sharks? Like the big
all
great white
sharks?
All
yeah,
varieties.
Especially great whites for effect. So what happens, there are scenes, for instance, where sharks get into the home. It's flooded. But fortunately, the characters are somehow to get out of their flooded home. They go out onto the street, no flood. So that gives you some idea of what I'm talking about. So I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it, but in the finale, and you can't make this up, how does Ian Ziering fight these sharks? Well, one of the ways are with power tools. He gets a chainsaw. He finds a chainsaw, buzzes that sucker up. And there's literally a scene where he's going out. It's the finale. Most of the sharks, they figure out a way to make the tornadoes dissipate so that the sharks will fall to the ground and die, okay?
Right.
But what happens, there's one heading straight straight to him. You see the shark coming down like this. Ian Ziering runs, leaps right into the mouth of the shark. He's in the shark, it hits the ground. So you see Tara Reid with her great acting skills trying to cry, and you see people, oh, they're so upset. There was a son and a daughter, too. So what happens? You think it's all gone. They're going to roll to the credits. Then you hear bzzz. Ian Ziering cuts his way out of the shark's belly, emerges right out of the belly of the shark.
What a hero that guy
Unbelievable.
is. I mean,
and then there was
much better than Wolverine.
There's a secondary character. They had to give. There was a girl that worked in a bar owned by Ian Ziering at the pier. Okay, and by the way, this guy works at a bar. He had a beautiful home in the Homely Hills area.
Homely Hills, my God, that's where I think what's his name.
I don't know. The rich
Hugh
folk
Hefner lives here.
Anyway, so what happens is that there's a peripheral character that his son, also probably the third worst acting job in the movie, likes the girl. She got eaten by the shark earlier in the movie.
Yep.
When Ian Ziering cuts his way through the shark and comes out, he sticks his hand back into the shark gut and hauls the girl out. Promptly, the son, the girl's not breathing, he gives her mouth to mouth. Okay, she resuscitates. They look at each other lovingly, and that's it. End of movie.
A romantic story with a great ending.
And this movie was so successful, they're going to make a Sharknado 2, and it's going to take place on the East Coast in New York City.
New York. They got enough problems in New York. Now they're going to have sharks.
And I'll tell you, the last bit before we move on, they loved Ian Ziering's acting in this movie, but Tara Reid was so bad in this grade D movie, I read today, that they're not going to ask her to be in a sequel. So she's now officially passed on to grade F actor. She'll be opening supermarkets soon.
If she's lucky, probably 7-Elevens.
So, point is, if you get a chance, everybody, I want you to go ahead and see Sharknado. It's definitely worth seeing.
But this is on TV or at the movies?
Okay. Good question, Richard. It was on the Sci-Fi. They aired it for the third time, and I read it's so popular that at midnight, I think this Friday, it's going to the theaters. You know how the theaters sometimes will have concerts for a one-night event?
Right, yeah.
They're doing a one-night event of Sharknado at a theater near you.
Theater near me, wow.
Theater near you. So anyway, that's that story. So, all right, so here we go. All right, now we get to the hardness.
Yes.
Okay, the next story I want to discuss only because, and Freddie, put up the picture of the hotel that I showed you. What?
The hotel?
Yeah, this is interesting. As you all know, I came back from a wonderful trip. One of the places that I went was to Cannes, home of the film festival, and by far the nicest hotel there is called the Carlton. It's right on the French Riviera there, and hands down, it's a beautiful hotel. In fact, I figure, what excuse am I going to go into the hotel? I needed to go to the bathroom.
Don't you always?
I didn't want him to know that I had to go to the bathroom, so I pretended I was looking at watches in a jewelry store. They actually have like an IWC dealership, nice watch brand, and then they have some high-end jewelry store right in the lobby. Now, what's interesting, they have an exhibition hall, and when I was there, they had a furrier from, I guess, the world's finest mink, and they put on these different presentations and things. Well, apparently, after I left...
there's a picture of the hotel?
And by the way, I took that picture. You see, just a beautiful hotel called the Carlton. So, I'm looking at the news yesterday, and here's the story. A gunman walked into the luxury Carlton Hotel in broad daylight.
To use the bathroom?
No, to rob them. Okay, and by the way...
But maybe robbing was an excuse to use the bathroom like you wanted to go get watches.
That's brilliant. They didn't figure out how he did it. Maybe that's it.
They have to talk to me more often.
Can I use your water closet? Maybe that was it. But anyway, the bottom line is, this guy went in there. In the course of a few minutes, he walked off with an estimated $136 million in jewels and diamonds from a gem exhibition.
Okay, that's right out of one of those movies. What's that movie where the guy, Take a Thief?
Richard, I haven't even gone over the story with you. It says it was a movie set hotel for To Catch a Thief. This hotel,
that's a movie.
The Carlton Hotel, was used for the movie To Catch a Thief in the 1955 1965 Alfred Hitchcock thriller.
That was a great
starring
movie.
Cary Grant as a jewel thief. So the bottom line is they think that it's a gang, and you can't make this up, called the Pink Panther Gang. They've had a couple of robberies, and believe it or not, I think it said this is the third robbery that Can itself has suffered. But it says the thief in his mid-40s entered the room of the exhibition, pulled out a Colt 45 at the employees, stuffed a bag with gems, and walked out of the hotel. It says, we do not know yet if the thief had accomplices, but we're investigating everything. It's a full-scale investigation, as opposed to a part-scale, I guess. It says the robbery was very quick. The thief, wearing a cap and scarf around his neck, had to look properly French.
Sure.
Threatened employees and armless security. So these
armless
idiots are guarding.
They got millions of
million in jail.
Sure, and the armless.
Armless.
They were looking for trouble.
You think for a little bit more they could hire somebody with arms, Richard? Right. No, that's not what we mean. Armless, no gun. Armless security with a gun. It says there was no violence. He grabbed the jewels with diamonds, put them in a bag, and walked away.
And how many days ago was this?
This was yesterday. Yesterday. So I just thought that was a great story to share with everybody since I was here and there just about 2 weeks ago. All right.
Yes.
That is story number 2. Now, as you know, Richard, we normally do our weekly segment, Attorneys Behaving Badly, although last week I think we deviated. We didn't have an attorney. Who acted badly last week? Do you remember?
Well, last week we had the burlesque dancer here.
Well, she didn't behave badly, but I did a story.
But we were hoping at least she would.
That's right. I did a story about somebody behaving badly. Well, this
week... So who's
week,
behaving badly this week?
All right.
Let me guess.
Okay, who do you want to guess? No, not that story. Are you thinking Anthony Weiner?
Anthony Weiner.
No, we're going to talk about the Anthony Weiner's wiener, but we might do that after the break. But get a load of this guy. Okay. There is a University of Pittsburgh medical researcher. Okay, his name is Dr. Robert Ferranti, and I think I said okay twice, so got to watch that.
That's okay.
Thank you, Richard. Okay. All right, Dr. Ferranti, married to a woman who's a neurologist's wife, has been apparently trying to get pregnant. And what I find interesting about this is that he happens to be 64, so he probably doesn't really want kids anymore.
And how old is his wife?
Well, she was 41, and she was probably desperate to have kids. So here's the story. Okay, she asked her medical research husband, or I should say he approached her and said he wanted to give her a laced energy supplement to help her egg production. Okay, so I guess
Makes
the eggs
sense.
are probably starting to dry up. Well, looks so we got a phone call? No. Oh,
No.
Okay, didn't know where that signal was. So anyway, the wife asked him, will this formula help stimulate egg production? He says, yes, of course it will. All right, so what does she do? She drops dead about 9 hours later. They test her. Cyanide, lethal levels of cyanide. She died and been cremated. Then they started to suspect the guy. 2 days before his wife became ill, he used a university credit card to buy more than a half a pound of cyanide. Another genius.
Jesus. And he thought he was going to get away with that?
Yeah, when's the last time you bought a half a pound of cyanide, Richard?
I don't even know where to go and get that.
Yeah, where does one go get cyanide?
Probably over at the school.
All right, so police determined that was the substance he purchased, and it wasn't related to his work as a researcher. So they pretty much nailed this son of a gun. So
what was his motive? Does his wife have a lot of money, or?
No. You know what one possible motive is, besides not wanting her to get pregnant? Here, let me say. While the criminal complaint showed Klein may have been trying to get pregnant by Ferranti, he also suspected she was having an affair with a man in Boston. That man told police he occasionally met Klein for dinner or drinks, and she complained her husband was controlling and not supportive of her job. Okay? So draw your own conclusion. So it may be he was really ticked off that maybe she was having dinner and drinks with another guy. But, yes, I think you would agree that it's no excuse to poison somebody and go ahead. Apparently no insurance, just wanted to get rid of her. So that's the story. It says cyanide kills by destroying cells, a lethal dose of about 200 milligrams, and that's for you wives out there listening, for your husbands. Lethal dose about 200 milligrams, about 1/25th the weight of a nickel. Okay.
Wow.
So anyway, that story. So this guy gets our official award for a scumbag behaving badly. Hopefully he will rot in jail, and somebody will give him a dose of something up the rectum. So that is story number 2.
I think we better take a break.
All right, it's 6:15. We'll take a break now, and we come back, and we got much more to get on with.
Sounds great. Looking forward to it. Everyone stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Life is so overwhelming right now. The emotional and financial challenges are too much. More debt than you can possibly handle? Facing divorce or other family law problems? Injured and don't know where... At Elkins and Freedman, an experienced lawyer will explain options and treat you with humanity. They help people throughout Central and South Florida solve these problems. This is a law firm you can trust, and they actually pick up the phone. They have a 30-year track record of positive results, and they make legal costs manageable for people from all walks of life. Make the call, 1-800-992-1277, or visit them on the web at elkinsandfreedman.com. When you visit, you might even meet Tiffany, the office mascot. Elkins and Freedman take the intimidation and worry out of getting the legal help you really need. Call today, 1-800-992-1277, and begin to make sense of your life.
Hear you?
You can barely hear. Let me see if we can boost it up at all. Can you hear me now?
Sure.
Can you hear me?
All right, so listen, everybody.
Don't want to.
Yes. Okay.
Obviously, she's my secretary.
Okay. Well, Melissa, and for those of you who don't know, and Melissa's going to tell the story in a minute about how we met, but she had an unfortunate event happen to her this weekend, and it involves an airline behaving badly. So, Melissa, or like I like to refer to you in the office as Peanut, because you're what, Melissa, about 5'1"?
4'10".
4'10", even shorter than I thought.
Is that with your socks on or off?
Now, let me tell you,
comment.
I love Melissa. Melissa, I can honestly say that I love you. Melissa and I, Melissa, how did you come to work for us? Tell the people out there.
I was your divorce client.
Okay, you called me for a divorce, right? You were unhappily married, and what happened? Where you and I set up a meeting. Where did we meet?
Yes. You were very accommodating. You helped me because I had work problems like scheduling, so you offered to go close to me by like Town Center Mall and stuff, so you were helping me out by driving instead of me going to your office, and you charged me a very, very reasonable
Well, wait a minute.
price.
We met at the Town Center Mall.
Did you say a reasonable price?
Yeah, I undercharged her.
You never told me that.
Melissa, we met at the Town Center Mall. You remember that?
Yes.
All right, so I took down the information. By the way, Melissa, I have your picture up. I have a flattering one. I have it with you, with the other two girls in the office, Tina and Gina. So I'm looking at you, and you're the cute tiny one there. All right.
I guess so.
So Melissa, so what happened? You had another job, and I basically said, "Hey, this girl is a smart girl. You want a job, right?"
I thought you hired me because I was cute.
All right. Well, you can believe that if you want to, but I thought you were smart, and that's really why I hired you. Cute
Okay.
Kelsey doesn't work for us anymore. Anyway, so the bottom line is that Melissa came to work for me. She was really an excellent assistant,
Right.
did everything I asked for. And Melissa, I double-crossed you one day by pawning you off on Mr. Friedman, didn't I?
That was the worst thing in my life. Thanks.
That's great.
I'm listening, would you
Yeah,
mind,
by the way, sitting
mind not
3
saying
feet
that in
from
front of me?
Listening?
All right, so listen. Melissa has a sister. Melissa likes to say she's the dumb one in the family, but she's anything far from it. She's smart, but she has a sister that's what, in medical school?
Yes, she's graduating in August 21st.
All right, so she's in New York City. So Melissa decided on one of our clients' buddy passes, she was going to fly on Spirit Airline up to New York City. And you left the office early, what, on Thursday?
Yes,
And originally you were supposed to have, what, a 2 o'clock flight or something like that?
4 o'clock.
All right, so you get to the airport, what, about 2 o'clock or so?
Around 2:45.
All right, so you're waiting, and what happens?
Well, the plane got delayed to 5:40, which is fine because we don't have a choice. And then by 5:40, it was still actually delayed until about 6:15 when we started boarding. And then to find out to the last minute, I couldn't make it. So I had to go to the next flight, which was at 8, but which was also delayed to 8:30.
All right, so you couldn't get on the first flight. Second flight's delayed. Looks like it's going to leave an hour or so late, and you do get on that flight, correct?
Yes.
So you're saying, thank God. What time did you take off? You said about 9?
Yes.
So 9 o'clock, it's about 2 hours and 40 minutes to get there. You'll see your sister maybe about midnight. But no, Melissa, what happened then?
Well, they said that while we were flying around 10:45.
You were in the air, so you'd been flying for a few hours. You're getting fairly close to the New York area, and what happens?
And then the pilot said that LaGuardia will not let us land, and that we will need to make circles for a little bit.
But is that what they specifically said is the reason that you can't land? I think it was because of air traffic, right?
Supposedly, it was supposed to be air, but then found out later that my sister said there was nowhere in the picture that was raining or winds or anything. It was great weather.
All right. So then what happens? The pilot comes on after circling for a while and tells everybody on the plane what?
LaGuardia will still not let us land. We're going to have to land in Atlantic City and get
So wait,
back.
stop right there. Not you can't.
Alan, this is not a 2-hour show.
Okay, you can't land in Newark. You can't land at JFK. They say you have to fly to Atlantic City, which is what, about a 4-hour ride?
Give and take with a bus, yes.
With a bus. So you finally land at Atlantic City. Then you said the crew abandoned you, right? It's just you poor passengers.
Yeah, they just walked out.
Okay, so you get out of
kind of like what you do at 4 o'clock in the afternoon every day.
All right, listen.
3:30.
All right, so listen. So the airport terminal, is there anybody there at Atlantic City when you get out?
No, there was nobody there.
So Spirit, nobody met you from Spirit Airlines.
I tell you, no Spirit at Spirit.
Until 12:45.
12:45. So nobody meets you. And how do you find out that these bums are going to go ahead and get buses over there?
Well, they put an intercom in saying that there will be buses to shuttle us back to LaGuardia Airport, which everybody flipped out already because it's a 4-hour trip to get there.
And not only that, you had to wait for the buses, didn't you?
Well, see, the thing is that they said it was buses. When it came to come, there was only 3 minivans that showed up.
3 minivan for what, 150 passengers, give or take?
218.
218. These idiots send 3 minibuses. All right, so what happened? Did everybody fight to get on?
Yes, it was really pretty bad.
Was there screaming and shouting? And
there was bitching, yes. Definitely.
Did they offer you any kind of compensation or food or drink or anything?
They gave some drinks. After I found out, I paid $2.75 for a bottled water.
You had to pay $2.75 for a bottle, and they didn't even comp you. All right, so what time did you get on your little minibus?
I didn't get on until, the buses, I couldn't fight with them, even though,
because you're only 4'10", so go ahead. So what happened?
Yes. So then I didn't get on till the last 3 shuttle buses, which are limo buses, those party ones with, strip poles and bars and everything inside.
Really?
I haven't heard this.
Really?
All right, but there were no strippers,
shuttle.
Unfortunately. Everybody was tired, right?
I'm sure, and we all crammed into a shuttle, and then...
you began a 4-hour ride.
Thinking that we can take a nap in the bus, what happens? So I happened to sit next to the surround sound, and movie pops up, Batman, like blaring with sound, so nobody ended up getting to sleep in the bus at all.
Oh, my goodness. So what time, the bottom line, what time did you get to the airport?
5:30.
5:30 in the morning. So nobody apologized. Was there anybody there to meet you guys at 5:30?
Nope, they dropped us even on the wrong terminal where nobody can get taxis and had to walk to another terminal.
They dropped you at the wrong terminal.
What happened to people with luggage?
Yeah, that's a good question. All right.
Well, the luggages were fitting into the shuttle, so it was...
So, Melissa, you finally got to see your sister at about 7 a.m. on Friday morning?
I give you credit, 6 a.m., because it takes half an hour to Battery Park, so about 30 minutes.
All right,
so
you had a good time, though? You had a good time.
All right.
Then is it fair to say you'll never fly Spirit again?
No, that's not true, because that's just probably a bad luck day, and that was it. That doesn't mean that I won't go on it again because they're only $9 fares, so it's pretty good.
For $9, what do you expect? You got your money's worth.
Melissa, my time management stunk again tonight, and I want to get to one more story, so we'll see you promptly at 9 a.m. tomorrow, dear.
Sure.
Don't be late.
All right, thanks for calling.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, Richard. We got one more story. Could we get Mr. Weiner up on the screen? I would be remiss if I didn't discuss. I actually had two topics. One was a serious topic. That was the city of Detroit, and they filed bankruptcy. We're bankruptcy attorneys. A very serious subject. So I wanted to go a little light, and I wanted to talk about Anthony Weiner's wiener.
In other words, Schmeckelgate.
Schmeckelgate. Yeah, that's actually, I like that. Schmeckelgate. Yes, Richard. Or as I like to say, it looks like he stuck his wiener where it doesn't belong. So here's the story. You remember, everybody knows Anthony Weiner. This idiot had to resign from Congress under disgrace because he was sexting all these women.
Yep.
Okay?
Everybody knows that.
He lays low for a while. He tells everybody he's a reformed man. His wife hangs by him. What happens? About 2 weeks ago, what surfaces? Turns out that after he had already resigned, said that he was a reformed man, he starts sexing again with numerous women under a name. You know what the name is that he used to sex women with?
No, what's the name?
Carlos Danger. Carlos Danger.
It's a great name.
We only got 1 minute left. So here's the deal. So under the name of Carlos Danger, he's showing his schmeckel, as you like to say, all over the internet. This guy will drop his drawers, like
he's a classy guy.
Yes. So, about a week ago, it's tumbling down on him, and we're going to have to pick this up next week. But what ends up happening is a press conference. His wife stands by his side and gives an impassioned speech, which looks like she stole from Hillary Clinton.
Yes, right? Exactly. Word for word almost.
Today I read it, or yesterday, his campaign manager quit on him, so it's not looking so good for him. And doggone it, it's a great story. My time management stunk. And for those that get Sirius Satellite Radio, his sexting partner of choice is a woman named Sydney Leathers. And I see her in the upper screen. I see Mr. Weiner. If you go to our website, elkinsandfreedman.com, we have his lovely tattooed sexting partner. And we have Mrs. Weiner. We have spared you of seeing his wiener.
Right. We got to say goodnight, everybody. We'll see you next Monday, 6 o'clock, right here.
On the Elkins and Freedman Show.
Elkins and Freedman Show, the Know Nothing Show.
You have been listening to the Elkins and Freedman Know Nothing Show, where maybe you learned a little something today. To reach their offices, call 954-772-6014 or toll free 1-800-992-1277. Tune in again next time for more Elkins and Freedman. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.